The water issue is a problem in my community.
Because cows have to walk for miles and miles to get water. Livestock die.
And the water which could be found, sometimes it is contaminated.
Without land, it's said, you're just as good as dead.
My name is Daniel Salau. I'm 29 years old. I am a Maasai. This is a tribe, a pastoralist tribe, which keeps livestock and nomadic in that matter. You know, they move from one place to another in search of water and pasture.
My name's Francis Nkitoria Ole Sakuda. I am a Maasai and I live in Kenya. And we live in northern Tanzania and southern Kenya. My life has been looking after cows, sheep, goats, and also going to school. Maasai means the speakers of Ma. So, and I can speak about 5 languages: Ma, English, Swahili, and 2 other languages of the neighboring communities that neighbor the Maasai.
The beauty of our culture is that it's so holistic. It takes care of the environment. It's so rich spiritually, and it takes care of everybody. It's not individual, it's communal.
In the evening, children sit down and old people tell them stories.
That's the way we pass our messages and our culture to younger generations, because it's not written anywhere, it's not in videotapes, it's not in books. It's just with the people. So people have misinterpreted education to mean that, you know, if you don't have a formal education, then you are illiterate or you know nothing, which is not the case. These people are so rich in knowledge. The elders said the televisions, you know, meteorological department predicted that there will be drought. And the elders said, no, it will rain. And it actually rained. So it will tell you what will happen. And that's the bottom line. That's what we want to know.
We respect the environment. We respect the trees. We respect the general biodiversity.
My experience while working with the pastoralist is that there are certain issues that are close to their hearts. These issues are primarily land, because pastoralism is dependent on land for its survival. Without land, there wouldn't be any pastoralism. Okay, the second one is their culture, and also there is education, because pastoralists are traditional.
The Maasai depends mostly on livestock. I grew up herding, looking after the cattle, after the sheep, after the goats.
For us, it's a taboo to hunt wild animals or to get game meat. We don't eat game meat.
Our culture, we share all the resources. If I'm lucky to have many cows, I can't possess them if my neighbor doesn't have any. I will lend him or her some to milk. And if you have water, we share. So that's our culture, and we thought that's a positive culture.
For so many years, we have had governments that were a bit unfavorable to the life of the Maasai. One, the colonial system came in and it took away a lot of Maasai land, followed by 2 other governments, African governments, which also robbed the Maasai a lot of land.
All the Maasais were moved from the highlands down to the Rift Valley.
The Maasai who had to be moved to the hostile, inhospitable, arid lands in the reserves carved out in the southern rangelands that comprises Kajiado and Narok.
Throughout the years that it's infested by a lot of diseases, especially livestock diseases. like the East Coast fever, anthrax, and all that diseases which affects the livestock. And therefore, livestock really die. And even people, there's a lot of malaria down there.
As far as I'm concerned, it was meant to kill the Maasai community slowly.
The Nilotes and the Bantus are the main categories of communities in Kenya. Kikuyu have been living very friendly with the Maasai, but in the recent past there have been conflicts which has even led to some deaths because of water. The water conflict started in 2005 and some Maasais died and a few Kikuyu also, and we hope that with availability of water we will still cohabit peacefully like in the past.
The Maasai have had to kind of just be preoccupied with outliving drought cycles, famines, disease, and they forgot about going elsewhere because the first principle is that you have to survive.
So there is very little, when it comes to water, roads, hospitals, and so on, we really don't get the proper share of the government expenditure.
And over time, there was encroachment of other communities on these highlands, so they were only restricted to the drier parts. And these parts, there is no water.
Pastoralists or herders have been moved to rocky areas where grass does not even grow. During the dry season, life becomes unbearable. Everybody is losing weight because there is no water, and when there is no water, when the animals are wiped out, then you're done for. Your case is done.
Sometimes people sleep without having food because they don't get water, and livestock stay without taking water, and as a result, they produce less milk, and which is not sufficient for their family consumption, and they become weak and die. So they are more vulnerable. Water and life are inseparable. And so the livestock and the people have to walk for a very long distance to get water, maybe 6 miles, 10 miles in order to get water for every day. And the water which could be found is shared among by the wildlife, the people, and the livestock. And sometimes it is contaminated. It's infested probably by waterborne diseases like typhoid and dysentery and such like diseases, and also malaria.
Even in areas where pastoralists were able to have their own sources of water, for example, in Kajiado, there is a source of water from Kilimanjaro called Oldresh water source. The government decided to pipe that water away and remove from pastoralists to take to other districts like Machakos and Earth River. So even one source of water that they had, the government, through very bad policies, decided to take that water away from them.
Personally, I've experienced pressure or problems as a result of the oppression and discrimination of the laws of the national government. And one which I'm still even experiencing up to now is that of education, because had I been having a fair playground to study or maybe have a school close by to go, and I thought maybe that was as a responsibility of the government. And even lack of water, which forced me maybe to come on and off of school to take my livestock, I thought it was the responsibility of the government to provide water to its citizens. So I'm viewing this as a violation of human rights, because it's my right to have water to drink, it's my right to have education, of which the government is denying me. So I think I look it on the perspective of violation of human rights and of my rights in particular.
My analysis is that our governments do not consider us. We are non-existent, and when we exist, we come in as a community of convenience to promote tourism. But when it comes to issues of rights, because water is a human right, that right does not apply to us.
All the laws that were made and policies were purposely to weaken the community further. And unfortunately, these are the same laws that the current government is still using. So they are very discriminative, and it is continuing to affect the community.
The budgetary allocation for water by the government was allocated 500 million shillings, while areas like Turkana that are so dry, actually they are deserts, were allocated a mere 5 million shillings. To me, that is inverse thinking, because common sense dictates that you put more money where there is no water, so that the pastoralists there can continue to enjoy life like the rest of Kenyans, maintain their pride, see their children through high school, and also ensure that they have good health.
It's the duty of a woman in a family or in a household to go out and get water for the family consumption. And then the man, in his turn, it's his role to ensure that cattle get sufficient water to drink. So every morning, the mother wakes up very early, maybe around 4 a.m., does the milking of cows, and then maybe 1 hour later sets off maybe for 2 or 3 hours walk to the water point, and could only manage to carry 20 liters container on her back home. So this 20 liters container can be used for 1 day, or if they economize it so much, maybe 2 days. But it's really be after a lot of sacrifice on, foregoing many things, in order to spare that water, so that maybe the mother can get at least a day to rest, and maybe the following day sets off. Sometimes some families are lucky to have donkeys, and they load donkeys with maybe 4 or maybe 6 of such containers, and then they can have, they can rest for 2 or 3 days without fetching. It's also an expense to buy a donkey, so not all families have the donkeys. So most of them, it's the role of the mother to get the water by carrying the container on her back all the way back home to the village.
My names are Alice Chitapo Lasoi. I'm 12 kilometers from here. I'm living in a place called Kisamis. I am a single mother with 4 children.
Marriages in our community are viewed like communal responsibility. It's not between the two, the two of you.
I was married when I'm young. The man was not of my decision. I stayed almost a year, and then I started getting my firstborn. I got 3 children with that man. And he mistreated me. I can say he was just taking us like slaves.
In our community, there is what is called peace delegations. In our community, it's called olamal in my language. Men have their own peace delegation, and women also have their own peace delegation. So they say if that marriage break up, it's actually a loss to the whole community. So they do everything possible to make sure that it's always intact, it's always together.
When I come here and I tell the elders the problem, they said, okay, we'll see. And then when we call the man and tell him, okay, support yourself, he just say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it again, which is not a decision. Why was you doing this? And I stayed for almost 2 years. Then I went to the human rights, where there is what we call FIDA. FIDA is another project which helps women. And I took back to that husband and I got my children. That's why I'm staying together with my children now. And it took me a long process. So right now I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very proud of what I've done to go back to school. I can't regret. What I have now is that I want to go in more details, or I want to continue in my school to make my dreams fulfilled, because I was saying I want to be a lawyer to advocate the rights of a Maasai girl child. All are boys, all of them are in school, and also me myself, I'm in school, but I finished now my exams for grade 8, so that's what I'm doing.
Women are an asset to our community. Women in our villages and in our tradition, their only property is cow dung, milk, hides and skins, and beadwork, the handcraft, like the one I'm wearing. The way we are trying to empower them is, if water is available today, I know that the person to benefit the most is the woman. It will reduce her journeys every day, 2 hours, 6 hours daily of work. And walking every day, carrying a load on your head and on the back, this will stop. It will end the journeys, the walking of the woman every day, and reduce the luggage she has to carry every day, which means she will have a rest at least. The other benefit is they will be able now to even venture into other activities, like concentrating in beadwork, making good jewelry to sell, and therefore they will have time to make their beads and earn some money. The third benefit is that the women will also be able to get adult education. For those who are still young, who are able to complete their schooling, they can be able to have an opportunity to go to school. They can also be able to have an opportunity to be with their families and take care of their young children, because sometimes young children are being taken care of by their older sisters and brothers. Although the government declared that primary education is free, but I can say that it's not yet free.
Parents bear the burden of paying the school fees. It's like cost sharing. The government only pays salaries for the teachers.
But we don't have enough teachers in our community, so our parents are forced to employ other teachers.
The area is so dry. We don't have rivers, we don't have wells, so water is a problem. And this one affects even the learning in schools, because when they don't have water, there is no way a child can come to school without even maybe taking tea or something like that. So they will be forced to stay in their homes without coming to school, maybe to go and draw water. And if you see, or if you go around, you'll see that experience, because you can see people moving with donkeys, and they move so many kilometers to the water point.
If you look at education, schools are dilapidated, and I look at it as discriminatory, because we have enough resources to at least ensure that pastoralist children have a roof over their heads and their schools get well staffed.
It's very unfair to maybe subject students countrywide, including those who are in Nairobi, who are, have well-equipped libraries, well-equipped laboratories, with students right there in the rural area who walk about 3 hours carrying 5 liters of water to school, and then at the end of the semester or at the end of the year they're subjected to the same examination, and expect them to compete successfully with the rest who are from urban areas. So even education, we think that there is a lot of discrimination, because education is actually a key to everything. You finish this level, you go to another. So the more you pass, the more you go to a better place, and even to a university whereby you are sponsored by a government. So it means at the end of the ladder, you are not going to qualify for the university, and therefore you lose out. And those who qualify to go there come and take key positions in government, in parastatals, in development agencies. So you'll continue to be discriminated more and more and more. And also political representation, because the more you are maybe in an area, the more you can, the high chances of electing a person to represent you in parliament, where policies are made. So if you are underrepresented in parliament, then you don't expect fair representation, because the policies that will be formulated there, decisions are made for you. You are not part of it because you are underrepresented. You are the minority in decision making.
That is why we need to send our children to school, so that we can have professionals also to serve in the government, so that when policies are developed, we have people who understand the Maasai culture. Because most of the people who run the government, they don't live in the community, so they don't know the hardships which the Maasai face, and they don't know the ways the people can get sustainable development.
Pastoralists are not provided roads or medical facilities in their areas, and therefore they are just as much as discriminatory as policies on education. Because pastoralists do contribute a lot to revenues and income in this country, but they are not getting back what they are entitled to.
Culture is dynamic, it changes. But we don't want drastic change which will destroy our community and our way of life. We want a change that is gradually coming, a change that we can be able to sustain, a change which can make us maintain our traditions and also survive in the world of computers, in the world of technology. And our mission was to improve the living standard of the poorest Maasai community member by providing water, by helping children to get education, by empowering women in economic development to get their rights also and live as equal human beings in the community. We aim to achieve a change which can be good for sustaining our lives and sustaining our culture. When I graduated from college back in 1992, I was the first graduate from our village to get a college degree, and I was in the city working. When I got a job, my parents were happy, but the community said that they wanted me to come back and help them. But I took a risk, and I resigned from the job, and I told them, now, I want us to start an organization so that we can pool our resources together and work together. So this is how the Simba Maasai Outreach Organization started.
It is a charitable, non-profit making organization which is helping the community address their social and economic needs on the challenges that are now coming up as a result of modernization and national government policies. The organization actually tries to address water issues, environmental issues, to lobby for community rights, as far as the government is concerned, and put pressure to our governments to recognize the existence of indigenous peoples such as the Maasai and the need to have policies that are favorable to them.
Like now, coming to the United Nations, we say that we are delegates to represent this community. It gives us that status to have a voice, because our delegates also from the government sit in the UN. So when we make our statement, they are listening and they can take note of that. And we have seen quite some changes. At least there is dialogue between the Masai and the government. So what we did is that many people recruited themselves as members of SIMO, both men and women. What we need from the American community and our friends and our brothers and sisters and everybody else who would like to help the Maasai, we need a helping hand, because we are working. And by holding our hands together, we can go together.
It's going to take the government maybe 20 years or so to change policies, then people will continue to suffer. I think the short-term solution is to drill wells so that people can access water that is underground. It's about 600 feet to do that, and it costs about $30,000 to drill one well, and such water can even be piped to distant villages sometimes, and so maybe one well can serve several villages through when a piping system is done, and people do not have to walk a long distance to come and fetch water at a certain water point.
Nikishuka nashe tenkarake engumoto naitoki atur tenewueji amu ipimoki apa enetumi enkare naturokini emurua nikishukoki Enkai enashe oleng tenkarake nanotoki tenewueji.
He's happy that the survey was done and it was established that water is available here at a close range level.
Nikijo siyo pee kiretu tenkarake nataretutuo sininche yiok lelo.
And now that the well was found in next to his compound, and the community approached him to donate the piece of land to the community, and he consulted his brother Moses, and they willingly did, because if people from far could also fund the well, then it was also good for them to give out the piece of land to the community for this purpose. The well here will be very useful to the inhabitants of this village. This site is particularly very, very ideal for this purpose because it is slightly elevated, and so water can flow by gravity to the other villages far from here. And so people don't have to walk to this particular point, but it can be piped to some distant villages and the schools nearby. So it's a very good site. You can see it's just next to the hillside, so the water can freely flow without using any power to do that.
We used to take that water together with the hyenas, monkeys, and many other kind of wild animals.
Na kajo ikintoki atum biotisho sidai.
And now if we get this clean water, we will be more healthier.
Ekiwok, nikintukore, nikiunie ndaiki.
Saying that the water will be very useful because they won't be walking far to fetch water, and so they will get clean, safe water for drinking, and even if it is much more the livestock can use, and probably they can even use for irrigation. Quite oftenly, children go without food because of lack of water, even if there is food in the homes, but there is no water to prepare that food. So if we have water closer to the homes and to the people, then we will be having food, and kids will be happy eating food all the time.
Now, I can say in this area, the one I know because I'm near to this area, many people now are helped. They were helped because of Simo make all girls to go to school, and even boys. There are many children in secondary schools and even in universities.
Also to help people get good health by building clinics and also educating the community about HIV and AIDS, conserving our environment because we have a very good natural resources and the biodiversity. And we know that one time we will use the livestock and we will use the wild animals that are available. We have medicinal trees, we have a lot of good folk knowledge, so we have to conserve our environment. And also to educate our community on food security because of the dry seasons, which kills a lot of cows. CIMO, our organization, also was to educate our community on good pasture utilization techniques and how to take care of cows and invest on livestock, and also to educate our community to adjust into a new way of life of settling down, and also to develop resource centers. We have now built a museum, so that was our vision of having resource centers where people can access information about Maasai culture.
So we have a museum. We have established as an organization in our village that people donate these old things that are not used now and which we see are getting extinct from the community.
Education of Maasai culture will start to be less than it used to be because kids go to school. So it was our mission to make sure that kids also get cultural education.
Because we view that when an elder dies, it's like burning a whole library. It goes with a lot of knowledge with him or with her. The Maasai pay a lot of attention, and they give a lot of respect and good treatment to the earth that they live at that moment, and they are so much considerate of generations to come rather than where they themselves will be going after death.
It has achieved a lot in our community. We have developed water sources. We have drilled 3 wells. We have repaired a dam which holds about 1 million cubic meters of water, and it waters over 10,000 livestock every day, including or excluding wild animals that come during the day and at night. So it serves both cows and wild animals, which we didn't have in our mind, but it is also helping them. We are also able to send children to school and build schools and water systems to serve the community.
My favorite being is my culture. As I said earlier, it's so rich. It touches basically all spheres of lives. And, you are not just focused on one issue. I think it's so holistic and it carries a lot in it. This is a great day, a very special day for Losheba residents. About 5,000 people, as we expect a rig to drill a well right here on this site. We are told 150 meters. 150 meters beneath, we have a well with sufficient water to quench the thirst of all the Olosheba residents.
Long ago, or many years, we have lived on the valley here, and nobody has ever imagined even that there will be water at this place. Hallelujah. We only want to thank God because of this precious gift.
We can see the equipment is here, and we are very happy about that. And at least now we have hope.
Let every heart prepare his room, and heaven and nature see, and heaven and nature see, and heaven and nature see.